Dozens of US military veterans live right here in Juarez, Mexico, and they can see the US every day, but they can't go. They've been banished from the country they served, the country they grew up in, and the country where their families live. But now they're fighting back.
Detachment, attention! Present arms!
These US veterans put their lives on the line for the United States. Now they are banished from the country they served, living in exile in Juarez, Mexico, just across the border. The US government expelled them after they committed felonies. Deported and separated from loved ones, they rely on one another to survive.
Parade rest.
Ivan Ocon leads the exiled community.
At ease. Love you guys.
As the director of the Veterans Support House, he works day and night to assist his brothers and sisters in arms,
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty, all this is basic.
making sure they receive the benefits they're owed as veterans.
Get back at me and then we'll fill it out. What's up, Joe?
Ocon's home in Juarez is a living museum of his time in the US Army.
3 Army Commendation Medals, 3 Army Achievement
The
Medals.
44-year-old served for nearly 7 years, including a deployment to Jordan during the Iraq War.
I was a very high-speed soldier, you know what I mean? I wasn't scared while other soldiers were jumping over a wall and stepping around the mud. I was diving into the mud and crawling through it and you know, that was me. I was a soldier, you know?
Also covering Ocon's walls are photos of his daughter in the US. He hasn't seen her in 15 years. What it feels like to be so close yet so far.
Like, this is the darkness and that's the light.
Ocon was born here in Juarez but moved to the US with a green card when he was only 7. He grew up in Las Cruces, New Mexico, feeling as American as any other kid.
It just felt like home, like that's where the home is at, where my family was at.
When he turned 18, he decided to give back to his adoptive country.
I will defend and still die for this country if I have to.
2 decades later, the US deported him to Mexico after he served 9 years in prison for aiding and abetting an armed kidnapping. Ocon says he wasn't a participant but was aware of his brother's action in the crime and failed to report it.
I should have stopped him, but I mean, there's nothing I could do, you know? It's too late for that. Right here, this is my original uniform from basic training.
The US has been deporting green card veterans convicted of certain crimes for decades. For Ocon and every other exiled vet, deportation would have been entirely prevented had they become citizens during their military service. But misinformation and red tape often get in the way.
A lot of veterans commit mistakes, do crimes, and guess what? They're citizens. They go back right into the world with their families.
Just 50 miles away in the US, in Las Cruces, New Mexico, Ocon's sister and nephew take regular walks to a local mural honoring Ocon and other deported vets.
I come over here and I pray as if it was him. I ask God to bring him home alive, to keep him safe. Mexico is really ugly right now and it's violent, and there was a shooting not too long ago just blocks from his house in broad daylight. That's what he does when he's feeling a moment. He comes over here and he hugs our brother.
For the first time in years, many deported veterans have hope after the Biden administration promised change. But for now, it's just words. Little action has been taken so far to bring people home like Ivan Ocon. Tired of waiting, Ocon and a Yale Law School clinic recently joined forces to petition for his return and to set a precedent for hundreds of similar cases.
If they want to repatriate deported veterans, they should start with Mr. Ocon.
Casey Smith is one of the students representing Ocon. She says the law has changed in his favor since he was deported in 2016.
The crime for which he was convicted is no longer considered a crime of violence and cannot be an aggravated felony bar to his naturalization.
The ball is now in the Biden administration's court. The students recently submitted Ocon's naturalization application, urging the government to expedite it. Today, how hopeful are you that you'll soon be home with your daughter?
I don't want to commit 100% to it, but it's close, you know, it's close.
In the meantime, Ocon and fellow deported vet Jose Francisco Lopez help just about anyone experiencing hardship in Juarez. Lopez served in Vietnam and was deported 20 years ago after serving prison time on drug charges.
I risked my life in Vietnam, and they didn't care. You know, they just threw me out like on trash.
Now 76, Lopez says Ocon's case makes him hopeful he and other exiled vets could also soon come home.
I don't know my grandkids. That's the reason I want to go back, so I can meet my grandkids. This is where deported veterans stayed, and this and that, and we got some more.
The Veteran Support House, or bunker, is Lopez's home.
They feel safe in here.
Deported vets who need shelter can stay for as long as they need to.
One time we had 12 staying here.
Over the years, many deported vets have died in exile.
Are from the people that had died here at the border towns.
For now, it's only after their death that their bodies are allowed to go back to the US to be buried at a military cemetery. But thanks to the relentless work of advocates like Lopez and Ocon, that could soon change for some of them.